Jordan Seaton was at one point given an award for his heart, for his determination, for sticking things through. Well, it turns out he lied to Colorado and said he was staying. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We're also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the business. So thank you for making me your first listen of the day. We're going to be talking about the Jordan Seaton saga, why it took a very unexpected turn, and why I'm pretty disappointed with how he handled things. I think I'll get to it. We'll talk about Jordan Seaton. DeAndre Moore seems to be trending to Colorado, which is a huge get for Colorado. I think that could give them the best wide receiver corps in college football, possibly, or at least the Big 12. For sure the Big 12, possibly in college football. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about some transfer portal needs as the departure of Seaton sort of opens things up. But let me explain the Jordan Seaton departure. So last night, Monday night, depending on when you're listening to this, Jordan Seaton sort of pulls a fast one on Colorado, enters his name into the portal. And a lot of people, we knew there was murmurs of him a couple months ago leaving the program, right? There was murmurs that he and DJ McKinney were sitting out, not because they were injured, but because they were essentially going to leave the team and decided not to play anymore. That was the rumors. And from my gathering, Colorado, for the longest time, thought he was staying. Now, they knew he was leaving within the past few days, because obviously they brought in the offensive tackles from Georgia and Missouri. And it was like, okay, that was interesting. I was like, do they not trust Larry over at right tackle that much to where they have to bring in 3 offensive tackles? But clearly they weren't replacing Larry Johnson. They were figuring out how to replace Jordan Seaton. Well, things take I think, just a disingenuous, disgusting turn, right? Jordan Seaton posts like he's leaving. He thanks Colorado for his journey and all that jazz. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, the kid's going to go get, I think the starting number I saw was around $3 million. He's going to get $3 million from someone. I doubt Colorado could pay him that. And he's probably going to end up on a team that is as close to a lock as making it to the college football playoff as possible. And I'm not saying Colorado can't get there to the college football playoff next year, but there's, I would say, a select few teams where it's like, they are probably going to make it. Like, I think more people would be shocked if they didn't. So he's chasing money. He's chasing the playoff. But the thing that really disgusts me, and I think is upsetting for Colorado fans, is Jordan Seaton actually went to Colorado's creatives, their people who make the videos, and was like, you know what? I need a video. I need to announce that I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. And they made him a full-on like highlight video of it's a very tremendous video. Colorado's media team does a fantastic job. And he told them that video was to announce that he was returning. Instead, he used that same exact video to say he was leaving. And right now he's going to go to Texas, Oregon, or Florida are the 3 teams that I'm hearing. And so I think the manner in which he handled it is disappointing. I would probably say, of the transfer portal, I guess, mishaps this cycle, I would say that's probably the most disgusting move we've seen, right? I put this above DeMond Williams telling Washington, or signing a new contract with Washington for $4 million and then being like, actually, I'm leaving. Sorry. Like, this to me is worse than that, because DeMond Williams was tampered with. And quite frankly, he got an offer from a bigger and better program over at LSU. And I get that. But to me, it was like, that was gross, because that sort of shows where college football is at, because there's no way to keep people in under these contracts. And Washington sort of figured out a way. It was like, okay, we're going to sue the lights out of you. You're going to have a buyout, and you're going to have to breach contract stuff. And so they figured that out. So I thought that was kind of gross. I thought Sam Leavitt basically quitting on Arizona State I've heard multiple rumors about he left the team after he was injured and literally never came back. Wasn't at the award ceremony where he won an award, wasn't there for the rest of the season with the team, just sort of bailed on the team. This to me is the worst one, right? Because DeMond Williams, even though I don't love that at all, that's exactly where college football is at right now. It's like, okay, I'm going to see how much money I could get. You gave me $4 million. I'm going to go to LSU and see what they give me. Like, that's how it goes. That is how college football has been going. Sam Leavitt I mean, I think he has bad people giving. I think he has people around him giving bad advice. I think it's his brother. I think his brother and the people around him are giving him the worst advice possible in terms of how to handle things, and maybe it'll come back to backfire in the long run. Who knows? But I just think that's bad advice around him. But Jordan Seaton, who I mean, he was beloved. Fans gave him that award, right? He's going to become, according to Brian Howell, the first player to win the award in Colorado history to not finish their career at Colorado, which is insane. Fans loved him. Coach Prime called him the cornerstone, the franchise, whatever his nickname was. And he was constantly talking about how he wasn't going to leave, right? Every time he'd be in a live, people would be like, oh, come to Ole Miss, come to Florida, come to Texas, come to Alabama. And he'd be like, no, I'm a Buff, dude. Like, I'm never leaving. Like, Buff through and through. That was a lie. Like, he was recruiting his cousin, it seemed, to Colorado. Now, apparently, they're both in the transfer portal, so they could go play somewhere else. I don't know where. But it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, you basically you made yourself the villain in a way, right? You made yourself the villain in this scenario because everything you did leading up to this moment indicated you were staying, including telling the people who took time out of their day, took time out of their lives to make you a video for what they thought was like, yeah, I'm coming back. And like, no, it's because you're leaving. I think that's a dirty move. I think that is sort of a scumbag move, quite frankly. So that is where college football is at these days. There's no loyalty. Money buys all. Now, I'm happy for the young man that he's going to get life-changing money. That being said, it's disappointing to see how he went out. I'd much rather would have just him been like, you know what? I don't know if I'm leaving or staying, and just I'll figure it out and I'll let you guys know. That's not what happened. Now, if you're Colorado, and I said this online, and it got mixed reviews, and this isn't, and I said the same thing about Marion Miller. This isn't me saying Jordan Seaton's not a loss. Like, Jordan Seaton is probably the best pass blocking left tackle in college football. He can't run block very well, and I'm sure he'll develop it wherever he ends up or work on it. But he is one of the, if not the best, pass blocking left tackle in college football. That being said, Colorado is bringing back, I would say, well, now they're bringing back Yaya, Larry, and possibly Zaria McGill. So that's 3. You're bringing back 3 people. Kareem Harden's possibly in the mix as well. You're bringing back as many as 4 offensive linemen who have started games. Mind you, and that's good, right? They have not had a core of offensive linemen returning in the Deion Sanders tenure, right? The first year was a brand new group. Second year was a brand new group. This year, it was a brand new group minus Jordan. So they're going to have some continuity, which is nice. That being said, the go-go offense created by new offensive coordinator Brennan Marion was initially created because he was coaching at the high school level at a school, in his own words, that didn't have a lot of talented players who were able to just play a traditional offense, right? He had to get creative with his offensive scheme to mask the fact that his offensive line wasn't very good. Now, this isn't me saying Colorado's offensive line can't be good next year. I'm sure they're going to be solid, right? Even this past year, they weren't great. They were okay. But this offensive system is predicated on not having the best group of offensive linemen, right? So Colorado's offense should be just fine, right? Losing Jordan Seaton sucks because of what he represented. I think most of us thought he'd be like Travis Hunter, where he was the rare breed of 5-star athlete who could stick around with the program and just, he's going to field offers from everyone. Like, we knew that was going to happen, but the way that he was preaching loyalty and love for Colorado is not what his actions didn't match that. So that's disappointing. But Colorado's offense should be fine. Like, this doesn't change all that much for Colorado's offense because this offense is predicated on having a less than superior offensive line. Now, I hope Colorado's offensive line is great because then guess what? They're going to run the ball even better. They're going to pass the ball even better, and plays will take longer to defenses will have a harder time breaking these plays up and sort of disrupting Julian Lewis's flow. That being said, very disappointed to see him go this way. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I'm telling you right now, it's Texas, Oregon, Florida. Those are the teams I'm hearing. I'll let you guys know as I know more. When we come back, we're going to talk about some positive portal news. DeAndre Moore, he's trending towards the Buffs. What does this mean for the Buffaloes? This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Wayfair. The new year is here, and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track, from bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room. Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. So whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. I picked up new bedding and accent pillows from Wayfair, and it completely changed how my bedroom feels. It's cleaner, calmer, and more put together. Shopping is easy, delivery is smooth, and everything arrives exactly as expected. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss out on any of the coverage. Let's talk DeAndre Moore. Steve Wiltfong, Pete Nakos, they think he's coming to Boulder. So I have to talk about this because I think a lot of people took what I said about him initially coming to Colorado the wrong way earlier this week. I was of the mindset that Colorado didn't necessarily need another receiver. I think the wide receiver room is loaded. I still don't really know how they're going to make it work. But I'm telling you right now, DeAndre Moore could easily be the best wide receiver on this team. I'm not even joking. He is, I think, unfortunately at Texas, they were paying people more than him, right? They were paying Ryan Wingo more than him. I think they were paying last year. I just feel like they had guys that they were prioritizing getting the ball to simply. I think money played a factor, right? I'm not saying it's like, oh, Quinn Ewers isn't throwing the ball to DeAndre Moore because he doesn't make enough money. But I do think Quinn Ewers, Steve Sarkisian were like, hey, let's get the ball to Houston transfer Matthew Golden because he's sort of our lead guy. Let's get the ball to Isaiah Bond because he's our top guy, Alabama transfer. Like, those are the big names. This year, it was like, okay, let's get the ball to Ryan Wingo. He's a 5-star wide receiver. Programs are going to come offering him millions of dollars if he doesn't produce because they're going to want to poach him from us. And so DeAndre Moore was consistently in that third wide receiver role. Now, if you watch DeAndre Moore, I don't think he's a third wide receiver caliber player, right? I think he could be a number one wide receiver. He just needs the opportunity. Over his career, 77 catches, 988 yards, 12.8 yards per catch, 11 touchdowns. He's got longs of 50 and 46. He's returned kicks before. He's returned punts. And so he could do a little bit of everything. And if I'm Brennan Marion, I'm excited to get my guy back because I don't know if you guys have heard this before. I've said it for sure. But I mean, if this is your first time to the show, welcome, first of all. But Brennan Marion recruited him to Texas. And then Brennan Marion ended up leaving to go to UNLV to be the offense coordinator. So Brennan Marion is familiar with this kid's game. He's developed at one of the best programs in the country. He's been proven at one of the best programs in the country. And now he's looking for a shot to be the guy. The hardest part for Brennan Marion is going to be figuring out how he distributes touches because Sac State and UNLV, I'm just going to pull it up again because I've brought this up before, but I don't want people to be shocked when we're hearing that wide receivers are unhappy or if Colorado loses a wide receiver. Last year at Sac State, Ernest Campbell, who's now a Buff, led the team in catches with 37. They had a lad by the name of Jordan Anderson, who had also Ernest Campbell had 8 of the touchdowns. 8 of the, 10 total, I think it is. Right? No, 11, 12 total. So he had 8 of the 12 receiving touchdowns. That being said, Sac State's quarterbacks weren't great. One of them was Jaden Rashad, and he's looking for school number, I think 4, 5. So they didn't have the good quarterback play that Colorado's going to have. That being said, UNLV did. And UNLV in 2023, one of the highest scoring teams in the country, they had a really good wide receiver in Ricky White. I got to see him play at the East-West Shrine Bowl. He was, electric. And I think he's on the Seahawks now, if I'm not mistaken. He's on the Seahawks. Hasn't really gotten an opportunity yet, but I think he will. But they had 2, tremendous wide receivers. They had Ricky White, who had 79 catches, and Jacob DeJesus, who is at Cal this year, had the most catches in the country at 108, had 1,000 yards receiving. Jacob had 36 catches. So pretty much less than half, right? Yeah, less than half of the catches. and he had 3 touchdowns while Ricky had 11. Next, after those guys, it was a tight end with 17 catches, and then another wide receiver with 9 catches. So, at least in my opinion, and I mean, not even my opinion, based off the facts, the offense really gets the ball to 2 people, 2 wide receivers plus the tight end. That has been the common denominator, that if you're a tight end, you're going to get the ball in this offense. So Zach Atkins, be prepared for a Zach Atkins big year, because I think that's sort of on the horizon. But let's go back to Pitt, because he sort of called the plays there. Jordan Addison, 100 catches for 1,500 yards, almost 1,600, 17 touchdowns. The next guy, 47 catches, 658 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then the next wide receiver, 27. So that is sort of, and then there's a guy with 25 and 16. So that is sort of the breakdown, is like you're going to get 3, maybe 4 wide receivers involved. So who is the odd man out, right? Because you brought in Cam Perry, you brought in Danny Scudero, who I love. I think he's probably the most underrated wide receiver in the portal. You bring in DeAndre Moore, presuming he doesn't flip or change his mind. And you have Joseph Williams holding over from last year. Joseph Williams is really good. Is Joseph Williams better than DeAndre Moore? I don't know. I would think most people would say DeAndre Moore is better. You have Ernest Campbell, by the way, as well. So you basically have DeAndre, Joseph, assuming DeAndre stays, or assuming he commits to Colorado. You have DeAndre, Joseph, Ernest, Danny, and Cam. You have 5 wide receivers essentially competing for 3 roles. Then that doesn't take into account that you bring in Xavier McDonald, who was a 4-star recruit that picked Sac State over Ole Miss and all these other big programs. He's joining the fold. Does he get a role? Is he redshirting? Does he want to redshirt? I doubt it, because most recruits don't want to redshirt. So you have 6 guys. And then you have Quanell Farrakhan and Quentin Gibson. So now you're at 8 guys vying for 3 spots. That's where this gets complicated. I think Colorado has on paper, if they get DeAndre Moore, has the best wide receiver room in the Big 12. The hard part about this wide receiver room is I don't know how you feed all these mouths. And that's going to be an interesting test for Brennan Marion, for Julian Lewis, for these wide receivers. Because if you're a guy like Danny Scudero, who led college football in receiving yards, are you expecting 100 catches again? Are you expecting to get 1,500 yards receiving again? If you're a guy like Cam Perry, where you're the number 1 guy at Miami of Ohio, are you expecting to be the number 1 guy? If you're a guy like Joseph Williams, who has been a big advocate for sticking around and being the guy, are you okay with sort of being a wide receiver by committee? I think one guy will separate himself, and I would imagine that'd be DeAndre. We'll see, but it'll be interesting. It's a good problem to have, honestly, to have so many talented wide receivers. Like, this offense could get really creative. You could see Ernest Campbell carry the ball a lot. He's fast. He ran track at Texas A&M. But I don't envy Brennan Marion for trying to figure out how to feed all these mouths. So that's what I will say there. We're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to talk about the transfer portal needs for the Buffs moving forward. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. There's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever, but actually getting the tickets, that part used to be frustrating. With long queues, logins, and prices jumping at checkout, that's why Game Time gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Knowing prices include all fees upfront makes the whole process stress-free. Seeing college football tickets starting as low as $25 made it easy to plan a game day trip. So do yourself a favor. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's Locked On College. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. I'm Kevin Borba, host of the show. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Let's talk transfer needs. Now, losing Jordan Seaton sucks. I would assume, barring Julian Lewis, he was probably the highest paid player on the team. So now, with him no longer in the fold, you do have a little bit more money. And these are the positions that I think Colorado needs to target. I think they need another safety, right? The more and more I read up about Fontenette from Vanderbilt, he seems like he's more of a hybrid linebacker who can play safety. He played a lot of snaps in the box or even on the defensive line, honestly. So I don't really know if he's a true safety, if he's more so a linebacker. So you have Nate and Mitchell, but beyond him, it's like, are we trotting out Ben Finiseth again? Like, I know Ben Finiseth put in a lot of effort to recruit guys. Like, I know Dylan Manuel credited him with being a guy where it's like, okay, Ben is a leader and all that, but do we need Ben at safety? Because from my understanding and looking into it more, Boo Carter is going to be the nickel corner. So then you're going to have Justin Eaglin and probably Cree Thomas at the other corner spots. So you need another safety. I think you need more interior defense linemen. I think you have I think they have some good pieces. Dylan Manuel's good. The transfer from Tulane I like. But do they have the size? I don't know. I feel like Colorado's defensive line right now is currently looking a little undersized. Now, size doesn't mean everything in life and in football, if you know what I mean. Because Jaheim Otis was a massive person, massive human being. And he could not give two you-know-whats about being good at football. Like, he was just there. He was just there to vibe. Now he's Ole Miss's problem. So you need, I think, a couple more interior defense linemen to really strengthen the team. I think it wouldn't hurt to bring another corner or two. So give me a safety, interior defense lineman, a corner. Offensively, I mean, give me another offensive lineman, right? Maybe a center. I'm still a little unaware. I'm unaware of what Zarian McGill's status is. I try to confirm with him, and I don't think he knows at this time as well, from what he told me. So I just think that there's a mystery at center, and that's not really a position where you want to struggle because, I mean, Shador had a bad center and Hank Zalink. He wasn't a bad center. He was inconsistent, right? There'd be times where he just snapped the ball at Shador when he wasn't ready. So give me a center. I would like to see another running back. I would also like to see another tight end behind. Well, they did get another tight end, I guess, but I would like to see another running back and another center on offense, another backup quarterback. I like the Isaac Wilson addition. I think Isaac Wilson is a serviceable backup. I don't know if the moment comes, if Julian Lewis goes out with an injury or whatever, like God forbid that happens, but do we trust Isaac Wilson to win us games? My answer would be no, because I've seen him play up close and personal. He is not I think, power 4 starting caliber quarterback. Now, he could get there, and this system could really help him, but from what I've seen, he's not that. So those are what I would target in the transfer portal. Do me a favor, comment below. What would you target in the transfer portal if you were Colorado? You have a little bit more money freed up with Jordan Seaton out the door, but obviously you need a little bit more, right? I think Colorado's at 75-ish roster spots. They can have 105. I would like them to get close to 105, but I think they're going to probably finish around 85, 90. I would like to see them get closer to 100, though, because they had a lot of depth issues. So you guys let me know what you think. I'm Kevin Borba, host of Locked On Buffs. I'll keep you guys updated every step of the way. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.